All right, welcome back to another exciting episode of Terrortinos. This is a movie-centric podcast hosted by two lifelong friends who were raised on 80s and 90s films. And what we do, we like to get together to talk about movies, talk about the TV shows we've been watching, talk about some of the stuff that happened recently gone on. And once we heard the tragic news of Rob Reiner, a great legendary filmmaker, actor, comedian, we had to do an episode. We had to talk about him, uh, and also we got a couple other things to talk about too. But let's just jump right into Rob Reiner because everyone's talking about this really unfortunate m- event. I mean, it's murder. It has all the kind of makings of like a really kind of tabloid story. Yet there's something about it that is so deeply tragic and so deeply sad. And maybe it's just because of our generation, because we grew up with his films. Maybe it hits a little bit closer to home. But let me just jump into you. I mean, I guess Angel, you're the co-host. Let me just get into it. Let me get your feelings about Rob Reiner and your how you found out and all that stuff and the
Well,
movies that he
yeah, I
made.
was thinking the crazy thing is next week there'll be a show about it on Hulu. They'll have
Oh,
like a 5-part miniseries. You know what I mean? They've been doing that lately, but
it's very quick.
yeah,
These guys.
but it's just like the trend of today, like of like current trend. Like there was so much out before anything was known.
Mhm.
I had no idea what had happened, and then all of a sudden his wife is dead too. And it took like a couple days for everything to get put together. And then when I finally got all the information, I was like, it was sad and tragic. But then I'm like, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking like, Menendez. I was thinking like
Mhm.
the patronize. But if Rob Reiner, I don't know, I didn't do any research on this kid, but it's not
Mhm.
like his kid was like a troubled teen, right? We're talking like,
He had a history of drug addiction,
but yeah,
and
how
now
old was this kid? It's got
I
to
think
be
he's 32. I could be wrong, but
really. I
yeah,
figured he'd be a lot older.
yeah. I mean, Rob Reiner's a little bit older. Maybe he had kids a little bit later in life.
Second, you
Um,
said, yeah.
uh, yeah, but I knew a little bit about how because unfortunately Rob Reiner did a movie with his son. His son wrote a script about his relationship with his drug addiction. I forgot what it was called. It was called Being Charlie or something like that. Um, and this happened a couple years ago. So I mean, Rob Reiner was trying to like reconnect with his son, trying to help him out. He's been trying to help this poor kid. Well, I don't know, he's a poor kid, but I mean, it's certainly a guy who had a lot of issues and have a lot of problems, not just drug addiction. Now it has come out that he's was diagnosed with schizophrenia and one time was homeless. So this guy was really down in the dumps. And I guess Rob was and his wife, Michelle. Is it Michelle? Um, uh, were both trying to help this kid out. And I guess he was staying at their house for a while and has been staying in their house. So like he is like I think the more you hear about the story and the more you hear about the what has transpired, it's more even more depressing, because
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
like you, I was like, I heard there was two bodies found in his estate. I go, okay, very strange. Then they slowly leaked out it was the same ages as Rob and his wife. I go, oh shit, is this like a double homicide? Is it a double? Is this a suicide homicide? Is this some kind of like Phil Hartman scenario where the wife killed Phil Hartman?
Well,
And then
who was it that wasn't it Hackman and his wife that died recently?
yes, remember we did an
That
episode
weirded me
earlier
out
this
because I'm like, yeah, so it's like people dying same day as their spouse or right around the same
right.
time. That's crazy
And
shit,
and
dude.
then yeah, and that kinda got me going on, like, maybe it was a home invasion, maybe it was some kind of, heater, accident, gas leak or something like that. So all these kind of, things run in one's mind, and then once you kind of realize what happened, and then he was murdered by his son, by his really severely troubled son, then it becomes a really, really bad and depressing story. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow.
a tragedy for sure. And then when you think about all the little nuances and all the pieces to the puzzle, it's like it's even worse because it's almost kind of like there's of course there's gonna be accidents, tragedies, but then when you think about things that happen where it's like there was so many times where it could have been, I don't know, you could have saw the signs or you know what I mean? It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's like how shitty. And it's weird because I don't know if it's just because he's like famous or if this stuff happens all the time, but people aren't, you know what I mean? It's not as
Mm.
publicized, televised, but it's still it's a horrible thing. And I mean, it's so funny because when I first saw it, I'm like, babe, did you hear blah blah blah? And she's like, who? I said, Meathead. Because even though I'm not that old, that's what I remember him as. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I know him as the director, but
Yeah.
when I think of his face, I think of the mustache, and I think of the meathead face. And it's so funny because we're talking about him, and we did my Christmas early for my mom's side. We did
Okay.
last weekend, and they're talking about something, and I said the sad, not it's not sad, but what I remember him most from as of recent was, and it's an older movie, was Dickie Roberts because in Dickie Roberts he played himself trying to get the movie for Dave Spade's character Dickie Roberts. So it's kind of like it was like, and he was just it was weird because it was a while ago, but he looked the same
Yeah.
as he just did. So the guy was pretty good at aging, but it was just like, damn, it was like I thought it's one of those guys you thought was just going to be around forever because he's kind of been around forever.
Yeah, I was talking to my brother about this, like, because of his affable, nature, him being a lovable guy, him being like this beloved character, him being like, like we're saying, he is meathead for a lot of people. Did that maybe didn't? I mean, I think if you look at if you look at like his filmography as a director, as a filmmaker, people will be celebrating this guy, as like, oh, this is guy one of our better filmmakers, one of our best directors of all time, with that incredible run in the 80s and 90s with hits after hits, masterpieces after masterpieces. But because he's meathead and has his label of being like a comedian, also being the son of Carl Reiner, who is a legendary comedic comedy comedian, does that also didn't play well in his favor? Did we not did not have enough respect for the guy when he was with us? So that's I was like thinking about that. Was he we because like if this guy if it was Rob whoever would he been celebrated as in the same conversation as Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola because of that incredible run?
But when you look at his filmography, he should
Hmm.
because dude, he runs the gambit. There's silly, there's funny, there's heartful, there's he's got it all, and it's kind of like anybody else on their own that would have been enough to put him up at least elevated, maybe not shoulder to shoulder, but definitely in that group with those guys.
Hmm.
But I think because of like what you said, he had a person before he was that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like Spielberg was in a bunch of movies and then, or Coppola was in a bunch of movies or some other stuff and then transitioned. So if you just give him his kind of like his accolades for what he did directorially, yeah, the guy's like he's pretty top notch, dude. I was looking through it earlier and I was just looking at it again, and I did not know he did a lot of these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was him behind a lot of these movies. I just took it for granted that they were done by some other very talented people. I didn't I didn't take his whole body of work into view.
Yeah, and the fact that he was able to jump from one genre to the next, with Spinal Tap, that's a mockumentary comedy. It's something that you would think he would be more familiar with. But from there, he jumps to like Stand By Me, which is an incredible coming of age, teenage childhood memory drama. It's one of his better films, I would say. And then from there,
And
Princess Bride, still
Misery.
comedy. Oh, Misery,
Yeah.
Misery too. I mean, that's a horror movie, and
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How does he it's weird when they could do it well. Both, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? It's people can do it, but nobody does it. Like it's hard to do it well, and
Yeah.
he nailed it, man.
And also,
He did
he
North.
has
Dude, people
he
shit on North, but I love North, man. North was
yeah.
great, dude. It really was.
Yeah, and even after that, he did a couple political dramas with American President and I guess you could say A Few Good Men is kind of a political, but it's more of a courtroom drama. Those are two classic films. Again, two different genres. I mean, I guess maybe the common thread in his films is like a lighthead or a lighthearted comical. I mean, there's humor in a lot of his movies. Maybe that's the through line, but he can't not. I guess his biggest legacy would be he is able as a director. He's able to get some of the best performances from these actors. Jack Nicholson is incredible in A Few Good Men. Tom Cruise in the same breath. Misery. Kathy Bates won her first Oscar because of that incredible performance. Spinal Tap, all those three guys in Spinal Tap. It's just remarkably, uh, it lives that those performances lives in time and forever. And also Stand by Me with the kids. With you're dealing with they were not non actors, but they were young kids, and there were a group of like really talented young actors, but he was able to get that really great performances from them that felt really real and emotional. And Harry Met Sally, when Harry Met Sally, that's kind of is considered the peak of rom coms. But Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan's is like probably their apex. But yeah, uh,
No, it's no, the same thing you were saying, dude. It's just, it's it sucks 'cause it's one of those things where maybe, we should have enjoyed him. You know what I mean? He should have been a little more celebrated. It just sucks that we do these things, dude, after these people
uh,
pass,
I
and then you
know.
feel like, "Fuck, man, we really should have had more stuff from him, or we should have not treated him a little better, like we treated him like shit, but, appreciated him more while they were around." But I guess you do that with everything once it's gone.
Yeah, I find that with Rob Reiner's this instant, this event, this murder. I don't know. I think this is a little bit different than. I mean, t- I think 2026 will go down, as a really pretty horrible year. There's been assassinations. There've been political attempts. There's been shootings. It runs the gamut, right?
You mean
But for
2025?
some, oh yeah, 2025. I'm already thinking of
I'm like,
2026.
"Damn, you're doing this shit." Like Nostradamus on the you heard it here first, people.
No, no, 2020, yes, 2025 has been a terrible year of just really kind of big events, huge events that, that go from bad to worse. But for some reason, I think Rob Reiner's this part has hit really close to home for a lot of people our age. And a lot of it has to do because we've seen him on TV for many many decades. We love his movies for many decades, but also I think just the kind of the nature of the crime, and I think everyone kind of knows, or at least have a family member who is in trouble, and you feel helpless, and so that kind of hits as well. I don't know what's your feelings about this being particularly big. I mean, this is like a really big event where everyone's talking about it. It has gone beyond just like kind of the film community or people who just love films. It has gone into like just normal people, and they're talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's kinda like the catalyst for the whole awareness, and all of a sudden,
Mhm,
there's gonna be a lot of people like, "Oh, like, we should really do something." And I mean,
mhm.
no offense, we should have done something before, and every time something like this happens, we do. And it's sadly, if it's not, like, in your immediate house, it's kind of it falls out of mind. Everybody gets so involved with what they're doing. So, like, you have an uncle, he doesn't live with you, but he's kind of, you know what I mean? He's talked about, like, in, like, on the side type of deal. I think we need to, well, and you gotta remember, we're the first generation probably that it's not a shameful thing. You know what I mean? It's we don't talk about. You remember like the generation before us, like our parents, like, oh, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about this
Mm.
because it's something that's almost like a shameful thing.
Yeah.
And it's like if we don't mention it, maybe it's not happening, or we don't want other people to skew the way they look at us. But now it's kind of like, especially nowadays, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's something that has to be kind of recognized so that it can. It's like if we don't admit there's a problem, we can't fix a problem, right?
Right.
So I think, sadly, it'll probably be one of those things where it's gonna be a big deal for a while, and then it's gonna slowly fade to the back, and then it'll be just the way it was before it happened, where it's kinda like maybe there's a freaking, you go in the mall and somebody wants you to sign sign a piece of paper to try to enact a bill or try to get some kind of funding for it. But it's really sad, especially when something could be, like, probably 100% preventable, and these people need help, but it's kinda like it's somebody else's job. That's the mentality of most people, and you see people, like, even people with when you think about it, when it's almost like a special needs or they need help, it's
Yeah.
kinda like it's like when something falls, everybody looks and go, "Oh, shit, that person dropped it." But there's only, like, a handful of people that go up and help pick it up,
Mhm.
and it's I think that divide in our society is getting bigger,
Yeah, I
and the
think so
only
too. Yeah.
yeah, and people jump on it to make the algorithm, you know what I mean, for
Mhm.
to get more views and likes, but in real life, do they give a shit? Probably not. You know what I mean? It's as soon as something else comes, they're gonna jump to it. It's just I don't know. It's tough because it's like do something, but it's like what and who's gonna do it? But and it's sad. It really is. I mean, dude, you know which one was real bad? Like you had mentioned, was like the Phil Hartman. Like it still fucks up Tony, my
Yeah.
brother. Like I remember when it happened, he was destroyed by it. Like he was so angry, and we all have the same mentality. Why didn't she just kill herself?
Mm.
You know what I mean? She was that upset and stuff, but she killed her husband. Then she killed like Phil Hartman's wife, killed herself. It's just like these people. It's like they need help and stuff. And like suicide's a horrible thing, but it's a
Yeah.
very finite and a personal thing. But when they when I don't know if it's worse when they like kill other people and you know what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
know if you could say one's better than the other. It's just I don't know, man. It's like the your favorite the Jim Jones story. Would it be better if he just drank it himself? Why did he have to get everybody else to drink it? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's strangely, um, ironic, I guess, that I just, hearing this story about this murder and just having to watch, Task, which a big plot line of that was Mark Ruffalo dealing with his son, uh, killing his wife, their
Dude, I
mother.
forgot all about that, man.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the first thing that came out of my mind. I go,
Yeah.
"Wow," I just kind of, and, when you see that miniseries, it is a crime series, so it's much of it is about the crime and him, Mark Ruffalo's a FBI agent chasing down a bunch of, biker gang. But
That
but
was a crazy side plot
yeah.
to have. It was like a big fucking it's like a major thing, and it was the side plot, but it fueled his character, but yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't even think about it, but now that I think about it and that's fucking horrible
Yeah.
because it's like, that's still your kid, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
even though the kid was adopted, I think, right, Tap?
Right, right, right.
But it's like, they killed someone you love, how do you my wife was watching this thing about killers, and this kid killed his sister,
Oh,
and the
wow.
parents
Mm,
still visited him in jail, like,
mm,
years and years later,
mhm.
and it's like, "Fuck, dude." It's like, what do you do when someone you love more than anything kills somebody else that you love more than anything?
Yeah.
Does it erase the love? You know, fuck, dude, that's a tough call, man.
Yeah, I know. And
Oh,
because that show, I love that show, I love the miniseries, and it was, uh, it has that kind of him trying to find this peace in himself. Yeah, and so when you hear the story about Rob Reiner and what happened, and him and his wife getting murdered, it was like, oh man, this doesn't happen in real life. It's supposed to happen in stories like in
yeah.
the HBO series.
And how much help do you give before it hurts you like that, you
Yeah,
know?
and
Like
he's been on the record and trying to help this his son of his, and for years, and
but
uh,
what do you
very
there's
tragic.
time machine, and somebody comes back and says, "Dude, this is gonna be your demise. You have to stop." Could
I,
you? You know what I mean? That's
I
your
don't think he
kid.
would. I don't think he would if he was able to. I mean, he probably would do this exactly the same thing because for all intents and purposes, and then you hear these accounts from other people who worked with him, famous people and actors and other people, filmmakers and stuff. They all said that this guy was one of the better,
People.
friendlier, biggest supporter in Hollywood than anyone else, and that he would champion you and he would help you out, and he didn't care your backstory. Like if he believed in you, he would help you out and put you in the movie, even if the studio didn't want that person in. He would always try to help the person. That's just shows you how big of a character the guy is. Great, having a great character. And I think that's why it's so. I think Hollywood was shocked when they heard the story. I mean, Billy Crystal. You hear the story about Billy Crystal living next door, and he's coming down, the night of, and at his house, and also Larry David. This was a really big shocker.
Yeah. It's always weird too how those like, a lot of those people, like, you have a neighbor and it's just a dude, but then those people have been in it so long, you know what I mean? It's like and they came up together kinda, so it's like
Yeah,
they're their own community within a community. It's just weird, but they're people, you know what I mean? So they're standing
yeah,
outside talking to each other like, "Holy shit, blah, blah, blah,"
yeah,
talking to cops just like regular fucking people do.
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about his movies. I mean, Princess Bride, I would say, was a kind of a hallmark of my childhood. That was some movie
Yeah.
that who I think for the longest time I probably didn't even realize it was Rob Reiner who directed it.
No, it didn't seem like it, dude. But yeah.
Yeah, but back then you didn't really care who was the director, quote unquote director, or even like who's the actors. You kind of just love a film for what it is, the story,
When
and
we
that.
first saw it, we were Fred Savage's age, right? So we
Right? Yeah,
were
we're very
into
young.
that
Yeah,
shit. Yeah, yeah, we didn't
yeah.
care, we didn't know.
It was much later when I found out that his slate of films. But yeah, I mean, Stand By Me was just another one that was just kind of a blockbuster. It came into the popular culture at the time. It had that 50s throwback, retro throwback. It's like how we kind of go back and revere the 80s and 90s. Back in the 80s, they were revering the decade
The
of
50s.
the 50s
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Um, and also the music in that movie, that soundtrack was a huge hit. That kind of, I think, was
I was
probably opened the door for our generation of hearing some of those classic R&B music of that time for the first time
what do you think
in that
puts that
soundtrack.
together, dude? The soundtrack, do you think it's like 'cause I mean, for Stand By Me, that's a King book, you know what I mean? So, he
Mhm.
does a lot of references in the book. Do you think it's kinda like a feel for it, or you think he was like, "Hey, when you were writing this, what would you put in?" Or do you think it's like normally like a, "Hey, we're editing this. Hey, I got a perfect song." Or do you think while it's being filmed in his head, he's like, "Dude, I know the perfect fucking song for this part. I know the perfect thing for this."
I think Reiner said that even though it was an adaptation of a Stephen King novel, but it was very personal for him. So I'm pretty sure that soundtrack was very much the music he used to listen when he was a kid,
But do you
and
think
it's
while
like,
he's doing some of those are
I
spot on, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I know. I think he must have had it in his mind
While he's doing it, yeah.
while he was doing it, and I think it's that era where, what was it, like late 50s, early 60s, and as a kid, unless you're listening to the oldie station, you wouldn't hear those music. But because of that movie, I got a very close encounter with that music, with that kind of R&B, early Motown.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good exposure for
yeah,
us. Yeah.
that was a kind of probably my first experience with that type of music, that old school music, classics.
I like
Uh,
that. my favorite thing about that movie itself is the not just how beautiful the story is for Stand By Me, it's seeing those guys when they were super fucking young, dude. Like even Kiefer, man, you know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm,
dude, you look at him, it's like, wow, dude, you're like 15. You know what I mean?
mhm. Little
You guys are
kid, yeah.
babies, dude. Fucking babies, all of them. It's great, dude.
One of my favorite, I guess, trivia was that, um, you know, Stand By Me was such a you I mean, Stand By Me is, like, mostly kind of 50s era, 60s era nostalgia, but you don't know how much that kind of inspires other people. So when John Singleton is talked about him making Boys in the Hood, his first movie, he said that he was a huge fan of Stand By Me, and the fact that he said he basically lifted the note, "Hey, you wanna see a dead body?"
From that.
from Stand By Me.
Oh, that's
Says
cool.
so in that flashback scene in Boys in the Hood, when Doughboy, when the little Doughboy goes, "Hey, you guys wanna see a dead body?" That's basically him lifting up the note from Jerry O'Connor, character, "Hey, you wanna see a dead
That's
body?"
cool because that's like his little hat tip.
Yeah.
Is that's pretty cool. I thought you were gonna say, dude, and I just recently saw this where the main kid, the one that tells all the stories, that his brother had died, and they played that
Oh,
little clip with him and Kiefer, and there's a little you know how everybody does their little connections, that he was the one that killed Kiefer Sutherland was the one that killed his brother,
oh,
and that's why he had you know what I mean? That's the whole thing why he almost shot him. It was dude, you could go down the rabbit hole and feel everything, but I thought that whenever you see it now, they pull the clips to make it work.
yeah.
So for some reason I thought you were going with that one, dude. But I appreciate the Singleton one a lot more.
Well, I mean, I think you forget how much his movies have inspired other I mean, other just genres. I mean, like this is Spinal Tap, which is a comedy. It's a mockumentary. It's a movie that I didn't see at first. I mean, it took me a while. I think maybe in the late '90s, maybe early 2000s when I finally got around to seeing it, and then right away I knew the influence of that movie because it became like the mockumentary that now has become comedy. Now every sitcom is basically throwing their hat or nodding their head to Spinal Tap as a mockumentary. uh, that's kind of the framework of comedy now.
I've never seen it.
I mean, it took a while for me to watch it too. I mean,
It was dude, I threw it in with Monty Python, okay,
mm.
in that group because I tried it and I tried Monty Python. Danny pushed me. I did not find it funny at all. I don't know, but it's
I'm
funny.
not a big yeah, I'm not a big Monty
Yeah, I
Python
don't know if
fan.
it's a
Yeah,
British humor thing.
yeah.
Okay, but then that fool when he was on European vacation and he gets hit by the car and all the blood's going everywhere, fucking hilarious. But for some reason, and Mr. Bean makes me cry. I pee
Yeah.
myself. It's so funny, but I can't. That oh, I just never got
It's
into my Python and
it's this weird thing where British people have a certain sense of humor, and Americans have just a totally different look at it. It's for instance, like Benny Hill,
fucking
who's
hilarious.
everyone in America loves Benny Hill, especially if you grew up in the '80s and '90s and you
Yeah,
saw those kind of those quick
clip.
clips and the shows and they would play late at night. So everyone grew up with that, and everyone loves Benny Hill. In England, he's a kind of like a low hanging fruit, like horrible comedian, like an embarrassment. Like, wow,
He's an
why?
icon here, man. We
Yeah.
love that guy growing up, dude.
so it's so weird. It's so weird that like,
I wonder how they feel
I
about
don't know
Elvira.
how that works. Well,
Yeah, I just
but
and Danny, I tried it like twice for him, dude. Okay, but and I got to give it to him because Danny had said to watch it. I wasn't a big fan. It took me forever to watch History of the World because I was like,
mm,
oh shit, here's another one of those movies that he thinks is hilarious. It's gonna suck, and it took me forever. That and Blazing Saddles.
mm,
And then finally, I just bit the bullet, and dude, those are hilarious. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But for some
yeah.
reason, I don't know how the formula was different because it's very similar, but Brooks can do it, and whoever did Monty Python just couldn't.
Yeah.
And then because of that, he was hard on Spinal Tap too. So I didn't even try it. I have to, and I get it, and it's one of those things where it's everybody. It can't be everybody else. It has to be me. You know what I mean? So I gotta try it.
This is Spinal Tap was like kind of a movie that was just strictly a cult movie that really only a few people saw when it first came out, right? And over the
This has got what,
years,
Lenny or Squiggy? One of those guys?
Michael McKean and Harry Shearer and Christopher Guest. And then actually Christopher Guest went on to do his own comedies and direct them, and basically just kind of borrowed the same structure of Spinal Tap. This semi improvisational comedy where there's no really script. They're just kind of making up on the fly. That type of thing. Um, uh, so I think because of that, um, I think because of the success of it and it kind of coming from the cult status and really kind of permeating in the culture, it has become like this groundbreaking comedy. I think you could see. I think you could see the tentacles that kind of stretch out and kind of connecting to all the comedies they're making now. And like it really kind of have become a like this really source of where people kind of point to and say, I want to do something more like this.
Yeah, that's like
I
that's
mean,
probably the best thing that a director can get from a movie,
yeah, I think
especially decades later. Everybody,
yeah, I think it's like I don't think we give them that much credit for it. Because everything nowadays all the comedies, all the sitcoms now are kind of that mockumentary style.
yeah,
There's a documentary that you don't see, but they're all kind of making things up. That's kind of all has been driven by the fact that Spinal Tap has become this new classic.
I think it might have been looked at as low hanging fruit when it happened.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's yeah, you're making a movie about you're pretending and something for pretend. So
It's goofy,
yeah,
there's these
you don't get credit for it.
goofballs. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got a good analogy. My analogy for how I felt about Monty Python with Danny is how my wife feels about Eagle versus Shark with me. Because Eagle versus Shark is fucking pure comedy gold, dude, and my wife cannot stand it at all. And a lot of people can't. Like my kids would not even smile.
Mhm.
Dude, it is so fucking funny to me. I don't know what that guy does, but everything that comes out of his mouth, what's his name? Jermaine. Oh,
Jermaine Clemens or
everything he's in, dude. Everything. He
Mhm.
makes me cry. He was in, I think, the 3rd Men in Black, piece of
Yeah.
shit, but he was hilarious, dude. He's the funniest thing in Moana with the crab. Dude, What We Do in the Shadows, oh, he's and all those guys in that movie are good, and he's just the best. He is yeah, he's so good, dude. But that must be what it is. It's kinda like you get it and it's hilarious or you don't get it. But,
Let's
sorry.
talk a little. Let's talk a little about Rob Reiner's '90s movies. When we're getting to Misery and A Few Good Men. You were talking about how much you love North, and then The American President, which is a movie that I can't. If it's on, I'll watch. It's kind of actually A Few Good Men is one of those movies where if I catch it, it just kind of gets better because you just get
How do you how do
stuck
you
into it.
how do you think that happens? How do you think they go, "Hey, I got this courtroom drama.
Mhm.
We're gonna put Nicholson in it, Cruz in it. You know who we should get to direct it? Princess Bride guy." You know what I mean? How
I
does that happen? How do you pitch him at that fucking meeting?
I think well, I know he started, Castle Rock, the production
Yeah.
company.
Oh, Castle oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was his company, and Castle Rock is, like, kind of his connection to Stephen King.
Yeah, Castle Rock
He's
Entertainment. Yeah, they were
he's
huge, man.
huge, and he was producing a lot of stuff, and I think maybe that's how he kinda got his scripts, and he probably developed them and said, like, "Maybe I'll direct this one," like, A Few Good Men, I just that was a movie that,
'Cause he did
just kind
Misery
of
before it, so
yeah, he
he
did
kinda
Misery.
got but because I'm thinking, "Okay, so he's good. Like, hey, the script came to me. I think I can do it." So even after all of them are on board, they got to get the people with the money on board. You know what I mean? And there's that a little bit of a betting for that.
I think Stand By Me was a huge hit, but not like, a cult. I mean, it was a huge hit. Princess Bride was another hit, but I think when Harry Met Sally, which just became this phenomenon and became like this benchmark in both Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan's career, I think after that
He's like
you got
Blanche.
you got the golden ticket. You could do whatever you want now.
Okay,
And then
so that was we're on board. Like everything you touch is fucking amazing. We'll go with whatever you think.
We're in we're in Rob Reiner stock. We're gonna buy in. We're gonna and then he kind of turns that and goes, well, let me do a horror movie with Misery, and when that becomes a huge hit, winning awards, Oscars.
I know, fucking Kathy Bates, right?
Yeah, winning awards, and that was his call to get her. I mean, I don't think the studio wanted her because she was a nobody at the time, but she had like this some kind of a reputation on Broadway or on stage, and I think that was her first feature film.
I gotta admit too, I think it typecast her for a while, bro. Yeah, because after that, it was like she wasn't her; she was the crazy lady from Misery, man. Every time I saw her, I expected her to be crazy. After that, she wasn't. So I was bummed. It was like when I saw Eating Gilbert Grape, and then I saw DiCaprio being normal or as normal as he can be. I was like, damn, the illusion's broken. You know what I mean? Now, Eating Gilbert Grape isn't as magical because it's like, I know it was an act, just like Misery.
But I think after the Misery and that becoming a huge Oscar push, now all the actors probably want to work with him. I think if he's able to get performances that's Oscar worthy, and then when Few Good Men hits, he got some of the biggest stars in that.
Tom Cruise, at that time, those guys, they could have each done their own fucking movie and brought in a ton of people. Yeah. So to get all three, that's like a trifecta right there. Cruise, Nicholson, and Moore.
Yeah. I mean, and then I remember watching it in theaters, and when I was in high school, and loving it, but it really wasn't until like a decade later I go, oh no, this is a masterpiece because I can't stop watching it. When Tom Cruise is talking about like it's not about the truth, it's what you could prove, and like that whole scene, if you look at that scene and how it's built up and where he kind of pushes, he has the I think the baseball bat, but he pushes the ends with him. But he ends it with him like just kind of he's drunk, I think, or it's rainy, and it ends it with him like sweeping the desk of all the notes and stuff. It's just kind of like this really great performance piece that that Reiner was able to kind of filter in and maneuver. Same thing with Jack.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say what else is great because he had those huge over the top fucking Oscar scenes. But then I also enjoyed when he's when they're building their case and it's him, Pollack, Pollack and Demi Moore.
Yeah.
And they're running over. Yeah, they're running over what to do. And he's like, every time he's like, okay, well then why did? And he's like, so why would you think it? He's like, well, there was the part when you killed him. You know what I mean? Like Tom Pollack was like, he was there to be the other side. And then Tom Cruise like, damn it, I keep walking into that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, but that was a great little, you needed that little part because if it was just all that over the top court shit, then you're like, okay, this is, it's like, what do you call it? To Kill a Mockingbird. You know what I mean? It's just bang, bang. Right. It's just big. You needed the little, and when he's running and him and Demi Moore going back and forth. So it was a brilliant balance too, man.
Yeah, the fact that Tom Cruise, his character was like he was the son of a big lawyer, and he was mostly just in it making negotiation deals.
Yeah, just wants to win.
He wasn't a trial lawyer. He didn't want to be a trial lawyer, but then he has this legacy to live up to. That's a great starting point. Yeah. And then him going, I'm going to risk my career and accuse the colonel of, ordering the code red. So you put the stakes really high.
And it's something everyone knows.
Yeah. It's just
no one's ever touched. Yeah.
It's like a tennis match. It's like back and forth. And then when Nicholson says, yeah, you damn right I ordered the code red. moment just drops in that film, and
And
that's great direction.
you gotta admit though, man, Nicholson, I mean, I can't see anybody else dropping that hammer like Nicholson does, dude. He's fucking badass. But dude, okay, and then I was gonna say it's kind of like exactly what you were saying, the back and forth. That was a lot like when we were talking about Crimson Tide
Mhm.
between Washington and Hackman. It's just, but it's so weird. It's like I couldn't imagine directing that because I would get lost in it and forget that I'm the one that's supposed to be like cut. Let's start over. You know what I mean? You'd get so sucked into that scene. But because when you were talking about what his attitude is before he starts, taking on the case and then
Mhm.
deciding to do the case and then ending the case. I love that little part at the end where he's walking out and he goes, "Oh, so this is what the inside of a courtroom looks like." You know what I mean? Because he had just kept plea deals and never doing anything. And like even his own team was like is goading him. Like Demi Moore was just like, "Hey, step down." You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you're making a joke of this, and then I don't know. I dug it. I never watched it, and I think you and Tony kept pushing me to watch it and watch it, and I finally did because I don't like courtroom dramas at all.
Mhm.
The closest I get is My Cousin Vinny. That's the only kind of thing I want to watch in a courtroom. And then that movie, I was like, "God damn, dude!" I still haven't seen what is it, Primal Fear or Fear the
Oh,
yeah. I
well,
don't
you have a thing with, Richard Gere, though.
yeah, because that son of a bitch in Eternal Flames. But I don't like that. I don't actually like it. I'm not a big crime putting puzzles together. I don't
Mhm.
like courtroom shit at all. But I did this odd I loved a few good not a few good men. I loved To Kill a Mockingbird. I love 12 Angry Men. I like those ones, but the
Yeah.
new ones, it's kinda like, I don't have a head for it, I guess is what it is. There's very little chance of a monster coming into the court. And, any movie I watch, I'm waiting for the monster to show up, dude.
Mhm.
But, I mean, I'm glad you guys not forced me, but pushed me into watching that one. That one was good. And
Yeah,
you guys also made me
it's
watch
so
The
good.
Firm. I watched The Firm.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would have never watched that shit. But then I watched Eaters of the Dead, Jurassic Park, and those are all Crichton, right? And then Crichton did The Firm, so I was like, "Okay. Let's see what this guy does in courtroom."
Uh, what's your favorite, Rob Reiner film?
Dude, I mean, it's Bride, but, when I look at his body of work, I gotta be honest, I didn't know he had done some of the other ones. Like, I didn't know he did America. Was it American President? Yeah, I didn't know he did the American
Mhm.
President. I didn't know he did The Ghost of Mississippi. I don't remember the story of us too much. Um, I guess, but what sucks? It doesn't suck. But if he didn't do Princess Bride, it would have been like more of a toss up. Like it could have been any of those Misery, Few Good Men, North. The problem was with Princess Bride. I saw it when it was new. Like I
Yeah,
said, we were Fred Savage's age. It was
yeah.
the best of everything. It was fucking hilarious. I think at the time I loved wrestling. They put in Andre
Mhm,
the Giant
mhm.
for Christ. You know what I mean? It's like the perfect fucking movie, dude. There was
Yeah.
sword fighting, hilariousness, giants. It was inconceivable that I would love anything else, dude. You know what I mean? And I never know how to pronounce his name. Gary, is it Elways or Hughes?
Carrie
Ellis? Yeah,
Ellius? No,
dude,
Ellis?
I never know. But every time I see him in anything, it was like that and The Crush. Those are the 2 movies I'd seen him in. And then he did like Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, yeah,
But
that's right.
overall, yeah, that would have to be it. And then probably Misery because the horror aspect of it, or you know what I mean, the thriller kind. But those 2, probably my top 2 for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the Princess Bride remains his. I don't know, something. I mean, I don't know if it's his best work, but
But for our age group, that's probably going to
yeah,
be 90% of
yeah.
our vote.
Stand by Me is up there too, and look, don't sleep on When Harry Met Sally. I think that still kind of
Dude,
kicks
I've always
ass.
had a problem
I
with
know with rom coms, right?
no, well, rom-coms in general, and then what's his face, Crystal, dude. I loved Running
Oh,
Scared, but that was because my mom watched it constantly, dude. And I got to be honest, she's a Gregory Hines fan. It wasn't even for Crystal.
fantastic. Yeah,
And then
legend.
I think my favorite Crystal movie is City Slickers, of course. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I think I watched When Harry Met. That's the one he was a ref. No, that's Forget
No, that's
Paris.
Forget Paris.
Yeah.
He,
See, dude, I get them. I think I watch them once, and then it's not that they're not memorable.
uh
Like, I see, like my brother's like, dude, how do you remember all this shit?
mhm.
And I'm like, dude, you got to understand. When I like a movie, I don't watch it once. I watch it like 100 times. Like, so I'm not remember. Like, I can remember certain parts from a movie I've only seen a few times. But like when I like a movie, it'll be just in the background. Like it's like music. So my mind's constantly listening over and over again to the dialogue, to the story. But like that movie, just nothing really stuck. So I know I've seen it. It doesn't stand out in my
No,
like my brain.
I know, and I know it's. I mean, it's a rom com. It's kind of the quintessential rom com. It's a great comedy. I want to. I haven't seen it for a long time. Actually, to be honest, I haven't really seen a lot of these movies in a long time. I should go back and rewatch them. Um, that's me doing that. I mean, that's my bad. But I
Yeah,
remember
but
there
if
was
you look at his list, there's like 4 or 5 you have. Like you've seen
yeah.
Stand by Me recently. You know what I mean? Like some of those ones you've definitely seen. Like I know I have. I've seen at least. I've seen this year. I've seen Misery. I know I have. I've seen Stand by Me like a couple months ago. Princess Bride maybe a couple weeks ago.
Mhm. Oh,
So
really?
a lot of
Wow.
these on the list, but I know what you're saying. Some of those were just the once and just once,
Yeah,
man.
I've never seen the bucket list. I mean, I don't know if it's. I mean, people love it, but
Yeah.
I haven't really seen. I mean, I did see his recent documentary with Albert Brooks, "Defending My Life," which was I think at HBO.
Oh,
Oh,
I
and
didn't
I
see that
was
one.
I haven't seen Spinal Tap 2, but I guess that was the latest. But the Albert Brooks one was fantastic because he's been a huge fan. They're basically like brothers. They grew up together, and that was kind of him just kind of showcasing his best friend. A pretty decent documentary if you get also you get a good sense of who he was. Like he was a really good friend. Both of them. I mean Albert Brooks too. I'm a big Albert Brooks guy. Um there's actually one movie that no one really talks about, but there's a movie called Flipped 2010, which was directed by him and written by him. I thought that was amazing. It's him kind of doing a throwback to nostalgia, 50s nostalgia. I thought it was kind of sweet. Um, but I mean, it's him kind of like going back to that kind of same territory, but not as dark as Stand by Me. But it's really just kind of a romantic comedy, little kids. I thought it was really special. Um, to go back to When Harry Met Sally, there's a great story about when they were doing that. So that was kind of written, I think, written by him, but oh no, written by Nora Ephron, but he was kind of also developing the story with her. And it was kind of both based on their lives because they were both divorced, unhappy, and this was kind of supposed to be the anti-romantic comedy. This was not supposed to be the typical romantic comedy. These two characters are not supposed to fall in love. And so originally in the movie, they don't fall in love. They don't end up being together at the end of the movie. But something happened during the making of that movie was that he fell in love for a second time because he just got divorced. He was in terrible divorce. But he fell in love again with his current with the wife he ended up with, Michelle.
So his personal life switched the fucking theme of the movie back around?
Yeah, and he goes, then he's gonna change. He's changed it to them having a happy ending. Now it's what's more tragic is that both of them passed away. Got
Yeah.
murdered. But it's something special about that story, and we should mention it.
That's awesome.
I guess that's about it about Rob Reiner. Do you want to continue to talk about something else? You want to do the? I mean, how long has it been? You want to cut it here, or you want to do the extra?
Dude,
Uh,
I'm down to do the extra if you wanna just do it. I didn't the thing is when it's tough because when I was going through stuff, like, remember we kind of went back about doing something like this a while ago,
mhm.
and I had a hard time between ripoffs and remakes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where you can't fault a movie for having a similar storyline because there's only so many fucking stories. And you can get super vague, like, oh, this guy, I guess, has to go get someone takes his girlfriend, he's got to fight his way to go get her and bring her back. That's 60% of every movie ever made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's
Like,
certain tropes. Yeah, you
yeah,
can't avoid.
yeah. Because I mean, dude, okay, don't judge me. I watched Kroll the other day, right? Because it's a fun Tubi, man. Sick movie, right? But that's the whole premise of the movie, right? And I love Kroll. And it's just kind of like, well, then there's like fucking 70 other movies. And when they got tired of that, they turned it into a guy trying to get his daughter back. And that movie was called Taken. And you know why I brought those two together? Because Liam Neeson is in Kroll. And Liam Neeson is in Taken. Remember we did that fucking 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, dude? We were doing that before that shit was even a game. I could do that shit every day.
I mean, there was the old adage that when Die Hard hit, became this blockbuster, everyone was making Die Hard movie. It was instead of Die Hard in the building, it was Die Hard in the bus or Speed, or Die Hard, in something else, So it's just that's what happens. Like something takes off, and everyone wants to do their own kind of version of that.
Yeah, but it's the little things that make it or break it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they say that Speed is the Die Hard on a bus, but it's kind of like if you do it just because it's a movie and something's gonna horrible happen if you don't do something, that's way vague. You know what I mean? It's like there was not a Christmas party, and my biggest thing on Die Hard right now is what makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie. And I even saw them talking to Macaulay Culkin, and he was on a podcast, he was on something, and he was saying it can't just be at Christmas time. Christmas actually has to be part of it. And he was saying it could have been fucking Arbor Day or Easter. And I call bullshit because it happened at Christmas, but he was there because of her company's Christmas party.
Oh yeah.
And that's why the building was empty, because of the Christmas party. So it couldn't have been fucking Arbor Day or Easter. It had to be Christmas. So therefore it is a Christmas movie.
And it also has great Christmas music.
Yeah. It had to be Christmas. It couldn't have been anything else. So Macaulay Culkin, when you hear this, you probably, I believe I zerbert you. I refute your accusations. But dude, if you want, I do have a good, like a kind of a good list. And we don't have to go like into unless you want to.
No, I'm saying that it's going to be another hour.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you just want to kind of quickly go.
Oh, go through it.
Yeah, because most of them are so obvious. It's not like you have to actually explain them.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's. Okay, I'll transition.
We could just do top three. All
right, let's transition to a list of ours, which Angel wanted to talk about. Now, this is a topic about how similar some movies are to other movies. They're not essentially remakes or official remakes or reboots, but they are two movies that kind of have similar themes, similar kind of storylines that kind of connect each other. And is it a coincidence or is it not?
Yeah, I want to go further. I want to go where people actually voice, like, will put to words that this movie ripped off this movie, or this is an exact copy. Because, like we were saying before we went into this segment, you can have similar tone. They could be close, but because like there's like Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven. You know what I mean? Those were
kind of
they were ripoffs. They were
unofficially,
remakes. Yeah, exactly. So those don't count. Like, you can't count that shit.
The topic came up. I'm gonna assume the topic came up because of what Quentin Tarantino recently said. Got him a lot of heat because he said that Hunger Games was a straight out ripoff of Battle Royale,
and we've said that for a long ass time, though, right?
And the makers of Battle Royale should sue their asses. Now, he also has said that a couple other things in other podcasts is about Paul Dano, his hatred of Paul Dano.
So we don't agree with everything he said.
This is what Quentin Tarantino does. He kind of likes. He's a nerd. He's kind of a film geek. And he likes to spout out his opinions. But yeah, he does have a point about, there are movies out there that kind of rip off other things, and should they give it credit? Maybe that's the thing. Like maybe these movies should give some other movies credit for kind of lifting up really similar storylines. Let's start with your list, Angel. Let
Well,
me hear what you have in mind.
number one on my list was that Battle Royale in Hunger Games.
Hmm.
But it's so funny because you got me to see Battle Royale probably before most people it was even on their radars.
Yeah,
And I fucking loved it. It was
awesome
insane.
movie.
Yeah, the concept blew my fucking mind. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I like the fact it's so funny because we were just watching or we had done the one on the long walk.
The Long Walk. Yeah,
So it's still you get a bunch of kids together, long walk. They had to outlive Battle Royale. They had to kill each other. But yeah, so it was that against the Hunger Games. And the Hunger Games, I mean, I agree that it's a ripoff, but you can pull it apart and say it's not exact, but it was just such a new good concept that it was pretty it's hard not to notice the coincidence in the core concept of Hunger Games. And that's what and not only that, it's if she would have said like if it came out and it was great and she goes, "Yeah," she goes, "I just wanted to do it on this platform. I'm a big fan of movies like Battle Royale." I would have been like super thumbs up from the beginning.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like amazing. Like I love that you can do it and then kind of give a little nod like, "Hey, I didn't rip it off, but it was kind of inspired." But that was definitely my first one. Yeah.
Let me just say that I agree with you. I think but I would also throw Running Man in there. I mean, I just saw the reboot of Running Man, and so it's in like we're saying, like we just talked about our last episode about the Long Walk, Stephen King's version adaptation, and so it's funny that how that book came around the same time as the Running Man, as they're both Richard Bachman novels. And so I think King should get some credit here for both of these movies, because he is the kind of I think that precedes uh, Battle Royale and definitely the Hunger Games. But he had a story about like this competition live. Uh, in both movies, they're you know contestants. So yeah, I would definitely say give him a little props too for this concept.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure he was inspired by something that we have probably not, some 50s, 40s thing that we probably never heard of. But yeah,
Yeah, it's like when we're talking about the Terminator and they were saying Cameron ripped off that episode from that show. It's kind of like, yeah, there's inspired and then there's ripped off. You know what I mean? It's a fine line, but there's a difference. There really, really is.
one movie on my list, and I don't know if you ever saw this film, but I actually really enjoyed this film, even though the first thing I came up and I go, this is exactly like this movie. It's Guy Ritchie, or not Guy Ritchie, Guy Pearce, Lockout. It's a
Ah,
sci-fi it's a sci-fi
yes,
movie, and I go, "Man, this is exactly like Escape from New York." So
yes,
basically, it's the same kind of premise. He is he's a character who is hired by somebody to go break into the prison. They're both in near future, dystopia, uh, thing, but and it's the whole premise is him is working from he's working with connections to another entity, and he has to break into and save somebody. um but even though it's very similar, and I think no one's going to say there's not that connection, I still like Lockout a lot. I was a big fan of it when it came out.
and
So
that's what's hard. It's just it's funny because when I like it, it's easier to take it. You know, it's not. But I get it though. And
I'm a big Guy Pearce fan. I think he
yeah,
doesn't get that much credit, and he's great in this movie
dude,
for
fucking
this kind of
Memento, bro.
slocky sci. Yeah, Memento is
Yeah,
fucking awesome.
he's
Uh,
he's he's the deal.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's Lockout is a good. Dude, for some reason, when you first started, I thought you were gonna say Lock Up, and then I was
Oh,
thinking
the
big props
Spielberg,
to
the Stallone.
Yeah, and Amos, man. John Amos, right?
Johnny Amos.
Yeah. No, that's a good one, dude. Okay. It was funny because I had just watched this movie and I would never think of it as a remake, more of an inspire. But then when I looked it up, people do say it was a ripoff. But I think this one rides the line because okay, so it's Gremlins and
Okay.
Critters.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Very
But
similar.
but it's big budget versus B
Right.
budget. You know what I mean? And one's from space, and but it's a similar. It's so then it's like you're kind of grouping a little thing, but then it's the whole like nobody believes, and then all of a sudden everybody starts to believe. But yeah, but it was just funny because that one wasn't even on my. I don't know how it came up, but there's a bunch of people that believe that those two were kind of ripoffs. But it's funny because 2 years apart, but I think of that more as there is the cult group that wanted to
Yeah.
get into one that wasn't a big budget, and this fulfilled their needs. And I mean, fuck, dude, there's like 4 or 5 critters,
Yeah. It's a
movie.
franchise. Yeah. But it's also kind of riding riding the wave of Gremlins. I mean, like this happens like Star Wars, and there was a ton of sci-fi, projects that came afterwards that kind of very similar.
Yeah,
Jaws was another one where Piranha was the kind of the ripoff or the knockoff
but
version.
like when we watched I remember movies being held back because other movies were too similar. Like I
Mm.
remember, and some movies came out and tried to do it, and they got squashed. Like there's like The Abyss, and then there's like Leviathan, and then Deep Star Six, dude. Those movies all came within like maybe a couple years of each other. I
Yeah.
fucking liked them all, but most people haven't heard of like at least one of those, you know?
Yeah, there's a thing called the twins movies where there's two movies that come out the same time and they're very similar. Deep Impact and Armageddon is like one of
Yeah.
those where they came out the same year, maybe
Damn.
even months difference
Or
apart, and it's the same kind of end of the world comment movie. Like they're gonna do something with this comment or something like.
but then those movies all come out at the same time. Like when they get hot, it's almost like they have them on the back burner and like, oh fuck, let's ride this wave and get all these disaster movies out.
Yeah,
You
another
know?
one kind of like that twin movie thing. It's like the White House down, and also Olympus
Olympus Has
has
Fallen.
fallen.
Yeah.
Very similar, where the White House is taken over by terrorists, that kind of thing. So it's that kind of happens. Like it's like just to talk really quick. American Me and Blood In and Blood Out. It's like
Yeah,
these two.
dude.
They were like same films that
Yeah.
came out around the same time. That just
Dude,
kinda happens, like, this project kinda are developing in Hollywood, and they kind of break off, and they kind of land
but
with
and those
2
ones,
different studios.
yeah, and I see it as two kinds of movies. One's like big budget, let's see what we can do at the Oscar, and the other one's like, hey, this is for like my homies. You know what I mean? Like this is for my friends. They're gonna love this version. And it sucks. It's weird because I gotta be honest, I think Blood In, Blood Out is more cultish. Like we
Yeah.
still talk about that shit more than me and my friends will send the IMs back and forth and like my brother every year on his birthday, I sent him Michelob doing the Vato Loco sign and it says happy birthday, Vato. You know what I mean? I send that to him every fucking year. That movie's like 100 years old. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
we quote that shit all the time, like get him, Chucky, like
Mhm.
every time. Like, but American Me, it's just like you got a lot of heart card now.
Yeah.
Like maybe you know what I mean? It's like it I don't know. But I get it. And I think but the thing is I think they both hit their target audiences
Mhm.
pretty well.
What's a other movie on your list there that's
Okay, I had
ripping
Piranha and
off?
Jaws, and there's the big ones, dude, like um Point Break and The Fast and the Furious.
Yes,
But
I
then
heard this many
that
times, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's a big one. But then when you think about the underlying story, it's just somebody going undercover and going a little too far. That's not just these 2, dude, that's like 50 other fucking movies. You know what I mean? But this one is, I guess, because of the popularity, these 2 stood out. My big one that I didn't find anywhere. Okay. Have you seen the movie Never Back Down?
No, but that's like kind of like kickboxing one, right?
Well, there's a kid and he moves to an area, and then there's a bully, and it's MMA.
Oh,
It's
MMA. Okay.
it's the Karate Kid, dude. But it's with MMA instead of karate. I mean, the girl that he likes, that's the ex of the other one, like fucking step for step. It's just Never Back Down. It's not that popular. My kids love it. I love it. But dude, it is
I've heard of it.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is embarrassing how much it ripped it off. And it's funny because there's a guy in that movie that he has exploded. He is super like from that movie. I don't know if he got into um I think he went from that, and I think he went into American Horror Story.
Hmm.
I'm gonna pull him up real quick. And
That makes
Evan
sense.
Peters.
Oh, he's in that
So
movie?
yeah, so
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah,
wow. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
dude.
Wow.
Because
That's
Max
probably
in
one of
that
his first movies then.
yeah. So whenever we see him, my kids are like, "Oh, that's Max." I go, "Yeah, but he's kind of done a hell of a lot since then." But dude, if you ever watch that, you're gonna laugh. Because dude, I just watched him in Tron, right? He's Ares.
Yeah, that's right.
He's in the last Tron movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Fuck, dude, I liked it. I hated the middle one. I love the original. The middle one, no, and this last one, dude, I liked. I thought it was really good. But then
Yeah,
he also played
I
Dahmer.
tried to
You
I
know what I
tried to
mean?
watch it, but I fell asleep through it. But it's
Uh,
I gotta watch it. I gotta finish it.
it is good, man. It is so good. Okay, maybe not so good. Okay,
Yeah.
but so, dude, if you ever get to watch that movie, Never Back Down, Karate Kid, they even made a part 2, dude. Part 2, he doesn't go to Okinawa and Never Back Down, but he might as well have. That's how badly they ripped off the first one, dude. Oh,
I
and
got
then my
one.
last one.
Oh, go
Oh
ahead,
wait,
go ahead.
no. I was gonna say my last one was it's well, not my last one, but this one I thought was hilarious because it's. I don't even think they denied it. You ever seen the movie Mac and Me? And so
You're talking about
Mac and Me
E.T.
and E.T.
So E.T.?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they
It's,
look the same, dude. That's what's horrible about that one. They weren't even trying. It's kind of like let's make an ET 2, and they said no, and they go fuck it, we'll call it Mac and Me. You know what I mean, dude? Yeah. So that
Yeah,
was
that
my painfully obvious one right there.
I got let me just say one because I think no one really talks about these two movies really, but I this is I mean, I think this is legit is a legal suit waiting to happen.
Oh shit,
So
we're gonna cause this? Our one listener is gonna listen to it in front of somebody who has some pool somewhere?
so you remember Strange Days, right? The
You love Strange Days.
I love Strange Days.
Yeah.
It's set in the near future or well, at the time, like it's set in the millennium. But the idea is like Ralph Fiennes is a drug dealer, but his drugs is he in this near future is like they could capture memories in a disc, and you can have this contraption where the memories and you can basically hack into people's other memories and experience what their other memories. There's a crime thriller element to it. Um, Hugh Jackman did a movie not too long ago called Reminiscence, which is the exact same plot line. Also set in near future. He's also a dealer, not a drug dealer, but I mean, his whole he's a he kind of sells these contraptions that hack in people's memories, and it's the exact same movie.
Shit, I haven't seen that one. I've seen Strange Days, but I haven't seen that one.
It's even like he has like in Strange Days, Ralph Fiennes has like a partner who's Angela Bassett, and and there's a kind of a love story there that's unacquired. She loves him, but they're not meant to be together. In Reminiscence, Hugh
It was
Jackman has a black actress co-star
she have real
who's
tough arms too?
it's Tandy Y Newton or Tandy Y Newton? Is that her name? But that she is also same kind of deal. They're partners. She is the muscle in the movie, just like how Angela Bassett was. that she secretly loves him. I mean, it's the exact same movie.
Gotta
Like,
check that out, dude.
there's no way in
But they're not
hell
the
that
same director or any shit like
no,
that, or
no. This new one, the Hugh Jackman one, was directed by and written by a woman called named Lisa. Let me pull it up. Lisa Joy. Is that her name? She is the co-creator um of Westworld, and she had, she had I mean, this was her directorial debut, but even though she had credits as this a TV writer producer, Lisa Joy. She's also the married to Jonathan Nolan, who's Christopher Nolan's brother. They both create Westworld, and I think they both also did. They also worked on what's it called, Fallout. Right now, they're all both of them are producing Fallout. So a really good writer, really has these credentials. This was her feature film debut.
dude, this
She
was
had
2021. I
yeah
thought you meant an old ass movie, dude.
no this
I was
is
just looking for.
this is during like this came out during the pandemic because this is one of those movies that came out during HBO streaming. It was supposed to come
And
out in theaters.
but you're sure she wasn't married to the first dude that did the first movie, and then
Well,
maybe in the divorce she got the right, and
no.
so she remade.
Well, Strange Days was written by James Cameron. It was directed by Catherine Bigelow. So I have there's no way there's any connection to
Well,
there.
maybe she got the thumbs up from Catherine.
I don't know, man.
She's cool like that, dude. She probably did, man.
I mean, the setup is different in reminiscent. It's it's near future. It's climate change. So there's like this really cool setup where floods. Miami has over flooded. So there's a bunch of flood. So the look of the movie is pretty cool. I like that part. But I was just like watching the whole thing and go, damn, this is so much like Strange Days. And like, because no one really have seen Strange Days, I don't think there's much of, there was any kind of uproar about it.
Which
And the movie bombed anyway. So
which one did you? Well, I mean, I know it can't beat Strange Days for you, but was it good? The Reminiscent movie?
it was okay. It was, I mean, I like the setup. I remember liking the world, everything. It kind of reminded me of Dark City also, just kind of the look of it, the visual look of it. Um, it was fine. It's not the great. I mean, I only watched it once, but I'm saying it's legit. I think you got a legit lawsuit if they
I
wanted
got
to
that.
pursue it.
When you first started describing Strange Days, dude, for some reason I thought you were gonna say you were gonna compare it to Minority Report. Because for
Oh,
some reason,
interesting.
when you're like, the going in the
Mm.
memories, and I'm like, oh man, if he's going for Minority, no way, dude. Those aren't that good. Okay. This one's better. I gotta try it, dude. I totally gotta try it. But see, you know what's funny? There's a group of movies that are out there, and they pull a lot of pieces from other movies, so they can't be ripoffs. But they kind of slid under the radar, and there's some really good flicks. Like, remember when you told me about the one with Ethan Hawke, and it's so funny. It's Ethan Hawke, and the one where it's about the time predestination. Yeah,
Predestination.
and I tried to get Tony to watch it, and I told him to watch it because, dude, I really like that. That was a great suggestion from you. But I think a lot of those movies are weird because they fall on Ethan Hawke.
Mm.
He was in Daybreakers.
Daybreakers, yeah.
And that was a great take on a vampire movie. Like, the vampires basically took over, and it was so original. And I was like, those movies are good and they're original, and those ones kind of, unless you saw it and tapped in, like if you saw it, you liked it, and it was kind of like, it's weird because those movies, it's kind of like I almost wish they got ripped off and were made on a grander scale so that more people can get that, like, that story out and stuff like that. But it's kind of weird because there's the point where where I'm trying to go with is that when they rip off a movie, but they rip it off 10 or 15 years later, it's kind of almost expected because a new there's a new audience. There's people that don't know the other one exists, so they're kind of regurgitating, but sometimes I don't like it, and sometimes I do because I like that story's being told to a new audience, and I can't make everybody
yeah.
watch the original, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm
Yeah,
glad
I think
some of those.
I think there's a time break it's much more forgiving
Yeah.
because time has passed, and and it's look. I think originality is overrated. I think that there's a lot of people are just stealing from everything
Yeah.
nowadays, and I think it's always been that way. And the original stuff in films are kind of the more personal stuff that when a director is adding a personal touch to it. I think that's what makes it original. But yeah, like there's tropes for a reason because
Yeah.
these are just timeless.
It's everybody's cooking, and we have the recipes out there, and there's recipes that people enjoy. You know what I mean? And there's recipes that they don't. So
Yeah,
that's why every now again when they throw out a new recipe, it's like, fuck, wow, that's great. But it's gonna start being changed. Everybody's gonna start making that same recipe.
The only thing I remember from English class in high school was that one of my teachers said, like, there's only really 5 stories: man versus man, man versus nature, man versus something else, and then man versus himself. Man versus man, man versus nature, man versus technology, and man versus himself. And that's it. It's basically or 4 stories.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
kinda
basically it.
like if you could boil it all down, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Like,
basically what it is. So just make it personal and make it original like that.
yeah,
Uh,
it's like we're saying that if everybody had the same gift, then it turns into who wrapped it better. You know what I mean? It's like it literally comes down to that shit,
yeah,
dude.
it
It's
really
like
does. It's just the
in
packaging.
what I do for a living, it's weird because it's regulated, so every company has to do it the same way. So the only difference is how you do it. The ending is the same, but it's the how they feel dealing with you. You know what I mean? So that's why when you're saying just put your personal like when Rob Reiner did the whole thing with Harry Met Sally and he at the end he decided to change it because now his thing has changed. It's kind of like that's a better you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, dude, I am an asshole because I like it when the movie what was the Chow Yun Fat movie that you had me watch where at the end he's blind and the chick's blind and they're
Like,
crawling
it's a
and they
Killers,
never
right?
fucking meet, dude. They just
It's
crawl away from
I
each
think it was
other and
Killers.
die.
Was it Killers? I think
Yeah.
the
Dude, that's fucking horrible. That's a horrible way to end a story, but I fucking loved it because everybody
Oh, was it
expected
Better Tomorrow? Better Luck
I
Tomorrow?
I
Or
can't
Better
even
Tomorrow?
remember,
Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah.
but it was like y half of the world, like, no, 99% of the world turns around and goes, "What the fuck?" You know, like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then the 1% like me is like, "Yes!" Like, that's the world, you know what I mean? That's fucking reality, dude. But I just remember he was, like, crawling around, he's fucking
Yeah,
blind, and the chick was always
yeah.
blind, right? And they
Right,
just
right.
crawl past each other, and I'm like, "Only Mike would fucking recommend that movie, dude." And then I'm like, "You know what? I fucking like that." I like it when the good bad guy wins. I like it when it's not a happy ending, but then when you get too many of those, oh, it's not good either, so I don't know, man. You need that once in a blue moon. So I'm saying if Harry met Sally, if they didn't end up together, that would've sucked. So it's kinda good that they did.
Yeah, people love a happy ending, Hollywood. That's what makes Hollywood Hollywood.
Dude, I got a news okay, we're gonna have to do I got a idea for a new, uh,
Episode,
a
theme, subject.
future episode, yes.
Mhm.
Fucked up movies that Mike's made me watch, and I don't know, we might have to make it into, like, a seven-parter because
Is
before
it human meat bombs? Was it or eight immortal souls? What was it called? Is it?
all I know is there was the chopsticks on the table.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was pretty fucking
eight human immortal soul. I think it's titled Immortal Souls here or spirits, but in the Chinese version, it was called human meat buns
human meat buns.
or
All I
something
know is
like
that people watched that movie, The Human Centipede, and they were
that.
offended. And I was like, "You don't even fucking understand. I know this guy. This doesn't even break his top 20 for fucking weird shit that he'll have you watch." But dude, we should do stuff that you found or we found just throughout the course of the year that people haven't even fucking heard of.
Oh, it was called The Untold Story. That's what it was.
Should have been the unwatched story, man. That thing was horrible. But then
That's
and then it's weird because like you totally changed my genre of watching when you brought over The Host. And I was like,
okay.
before The Host, I was like, I don't want to watch a fucking movie I got to read. Like, it's not that I wasn't in a horror, but horror sci-fi, really, you know what I mean? And then I was like, at the end, I was like, motherfucker, that thing was good, you know what I mean? And it's like, dude, Koreans they're putting it down, and it's like you got to watch. Like, it's so funny. There was a new werewolf movie, and it looked like shit. Everything, there was no way, dude. Like 99% of horror is just shit. So, but I watch it. So I put it in my queue, and I'm like 45 minutes into it, and I'm like, okay, what are the chances it redeems itself at the end? And I go, because 45 minutes worth hasn't done shit. I'm barely paying attention. These people are looking off the screen to get their lines. You know, it's fucking horrible. It's a couple kids with their phones, and I'm like, they don't even show a monster because they have no budget. It's like sounds and shadows and like a old school smoke. But then I'm like, ugh, like it's really hard for me to turn it off. But back then, I mean, there's so much more to do. But I mean, back then you would come over with a like, hey, I got this movie, and it was like it was kind of like your thing. So we were like, okay, even if we hate it, we're gonna hate it for great reasons. You know what I mean? Even if at the end it leaves a bad taste, it's gonna be a great bad taste. So I remember always being like out, like you would say what it is and it was about, and I was like, you don't have to even present that. You just fucking put it in. And I'm with you for like an hour and 45 for sure.
I remember taking Cannibal Holocaust to you. We watched it. That was
Oh,
a terrible,
it,
terrible
it,
movie.
but it's funny because there's people out there now that look for those movies and talk about
Yeah.
those movies, but they're just watching it now. And it's like when my daughter hears a song and she's singing it, and then I'll finish the words. She's like, "Where'd you hear that song?" I'm like, "Dude, this has been out there." It's just, you know what I mean? You didn't know it was out there. So like the Cannibal Holocaust, but now it's great because like Peter Jackson gets famous, so then people go back and now they're looking for Dead Alive. You know what I mean? So that's what's cool about it. But like you really were looking at that when they were first coming out on the scene. But we should do like all the weird shit.
That
But we
would be
can't
awesome.
recommend people watch them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. All right. That's about it for this episode of the Terrortinos. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for taking their time to hear us out. Hopefully, we entertain you for the past hour or so minutes. I don't know how long this episode is, but hopefully, we entertain you enough. Big things are going to happen in 2026, unless I forgot the year again. No, but 2026 is gonna we're gonna I want to really dedicate it and really build this podcast and hopefully also the YouTube channel and other things in other ways and really kind of go strong and become big things unless nothing happens.
I'm
Which
thinking
is
this is gonna be like the end of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like we're gonna become somebody in the future will find something and be like, these guys are amazing, and then they have all this media to go back to that nobody watched at the time. So that's gonna be awesome, dude.
yeah, there you go. We're just keeping this for
For the future.
yeah, for the future.
Yeah,
All right,
so
thank you everyone. Thank you for listening. We'll be back, I guess, until 2026. So have a great Christmas, have a great New Year, and be safe out there.
yeah. Enjoy the remakes.